Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to look into the murders of Bruce and Lynn Peeples. And that was from Idaho. And hopefully my voice doesn't break up on some of these because there's a lot of ads. So there was this one, and it is from before she was killed, 1991. There was an ostrich found 3 miles from the farm. A 7-foot-tall female ostrich, missing from her home since Saturday, found safe and happy, her owner has reported. Lynn Peeples of Grangeville said the bird was found Tuesday, about 3 miles from the farm where she is being raised with her mate. And I'm thinking it's the same Lynn Peeples, right? The ostrich's disappearance was reported to the sheriff's department. They didn't know if the bird wandered away or was turned loose by someone. The ground was frozen, so there was no way to tell if someone opened the door or if it got through the fence or what, she said Wednesday. If it can't go over the fence because they can't fly and they can't jump so high, so it's a mystery how the ostrich got out. So, oh yeah, they own Uncle's Pawn Shop in Grangeville, so yeah. Anyway, hopefully my voice doesn't break up for all the ads, because if there's a lot of ads, my voice just crackles and breaks up. You can't hear what I'm saying. And I turn these on, and there's so many ads in some of them. And why can't I see this one now? I was just looking at it. Some days. And I just closed all the ads so I'd be able to do it. And there they come back again. So, anyway, murder suspect may be linked to 1994 People's homicide. And this is November of 2021. And there comes another ad. See? I close up, poof, there it comes again. So, it says, our detectives' workload has really picked up, said Idaho County Sheriff Doug Ulmer. And this is a 1994 front page story. So the one about the ostrich was like 3 years before they were killed. So investigators worked on the murders of Edwina, Eddy, Devin, and her son, Michael Devin, are in conjunction revisiting the 1994 Grangeville murders of Bruce and Lynn Peeples in custody. Richard Ross is currently charged with the Devin murders, and investigators believe he may be involved, said Ulmer, with the Peeples murders as well. Ross, 56, is being held in Nez Perce County Jail. There's a lot of people went missing in that area. I wonder how many he's involved with. At a November 2nd arraignment hearing, Nez Perce Magistrate Judge Sonal set no bond for Ross at the request of the Chief Deputy Criminal Prosecutor April Smith. There was a lot of people went missing in that area. Based on another double homicide case that we are reopening, references the People case. His criminal history and his ties to California, where his father lives, that may make him a flight risk. Ross' preliminary hearing date is not set. At his hearing, the court will determine probable cause is sufficient to move the case to district court for trial. He was arrested October 31st at a Clarkston, Washington motel. He is alleged to have strangled the Devins to death. Eddy's body was discovered September 30th at her Cove Road home in Mount Idaho, and Michael's body was found in a burned pickup in Lewiston. So he burned. So similarities in the case. The police department are working. They investigated jointly with the ISCO, but his connection to the 1994 People's case is being considered early on in the Devon's investigation, according to Ulmer. It was something we were looking into, he said, because of the similarities in the case, and he was also the suspect in the case at that time. While investigating an early morning house fire, April 2nd, 1994, firefighters discovered the bodies of Bruce and Lynn Peeples in the bedroom of their Florence Street home. Subsequent investigation determined the couple had been strangled and that the fire had been intentionally set to destroy evidence of the crime. Some money was missing from the home. And then the police at the time did not speculate that was the motive at the time. At the time of their deaths, they were running a pawn shop out of their home as an arson fire in which the person identified as Damon Young was subsequently convicted in the crime in November 1993 destroyed their downtown business. According to an April 3, 1996 Free Press story, the 1994 arson of the Peeples' home was unsuccessful, and investigators retrieved evidence sent to the FBI for analysis. An ISCO detective at the time, Scott Miller, started the need for care in constructing the case, noting that while the Attorney General believed the matter sufficient to proceed with, our concern is that we have one chance at this. If we don't provide a solid case, that's it. So, according to the 1996 story, law enforcement was keeping track of Grangeville residents since moved out of state who was a suspect in the People's double homicide and arson case since day 2 of the investigation. Back at the present, we're looking into 4 different homicides right now, and our detectives are strapped, but other departments have stepped up and are helping us, and things are going very well. He continued, it's just early in the game right now. The bad thing is everyone wants an answer right now, but there are no answers right now. Investigators into both the Devins and Peeples cases are ongoing, according to Ulmer, with interviews continuing and evidence undergoing or waiting to undergo a process. So if you know anything, even if you don't know if it's relevant, contact them, let them know, let them decide if it's relevant or not. And let's see how this one goes, if it opens and if there's a lot of ads. Oh, it was there and then poof. Okay, there was something here. Oh yeah, investigators at the time believed all 5 cases involved the same person of interest, and this was before. No arrest has been made. This was in 2008, so this was before. So, and the cases were Christina White, the deaths of Christina White, Kristen David, Stephen R. Purcell, Kristen D. Nelson, and Jacqueline Brandy A. Miller from 79 to 82. So I thought this mentioned the Peeples because I had looked up the Peeples specifically, but I don't know. Huh. I don't know why that came up. We all shall see. So it says, Idaho County brought up FBI and psychics in the efforts to help detectives solve the murders of the Peeples. And they were found murdered in their home. It was 2008. So I guess that's not involved with the 5 that are together. But it's mentioned. It's interesting. So let's see what else we got. This one, an Idaho man facing 2 murder charges waived his right to preliminary hearing on Wednesday, which means the case will automatically move forward in court. And this was dated 2021 December, so it wasn't that long ago, like 8 months ago. Prosecutors have accused Richard Ross, age 56, of killing 76-year-old Edwina Eddy Devin at her Grangeville home on September 30th, and then killing her 57-year-old son, Michael Devin, early the next morning in Lewiston. Ross had not yet entered a plea, but is scheduled to be arraigned on the felony charges next week. At this point, he's going to let the process work itself out. I wonder whatever happened to that. As Wednesday's preliminary hearing was set to begin, the prosecutor, Justin Coleman, said he planned to call up 9 witnesses to the stand in an attempt to show the judge the case should move forward in court, the Lewiston Tribune reported, but the hearing was delayed while Ross met with his attorney for about 20 minutes. Then the pair told the court Ross wished to waive the hearing. Ross had earlier been scheduled to undergo an evaluation at the request of his attorneys to determine if he was competent enough to assist in his own defense. However, Ross declined to take part in the evaluation. Chief Deputy Criminal Prosecutor April Smith told the court last month that Ross is also the lead suspect in a cold case that happened roughly 27 years ago, and that's Bruce and Lynn Peeples, that were strangled to death at their Grangeville home in 1994. Ross had not been charged in that case, but the investigation into the deaths have been reopened, so it looks like he may be charged with that. So, Facebook. And I think the Facebook mentions other ones, so police books are open on murders. So this one just talks about different ones. Joan ever published, let's see. Police are now speaking publicly about what the community has been whispering privately for years. The prime suspect in 4 unsolved homicides was involved with the Lewiston Civic Theater, and that's the other one's not this one, and told investigators he slept at the theater the night of September 12, 1982, when Christina Nelson, Brandy Miller, and Stephen Purcell disappeared. Police believe the 3 may have been killed at the theater that night. The suspect also told former Sheriff Herb Reeves he was with 12-year-old Christina White the afternoon of April 28, 1979, and she hasn't been seen since. There are 4 victims involved and 1 suspect. We're 99% certain who the culprit is. They have been working on the cases for years, and they're frustrated to be so close to solving the murders, yet far enough away to prevent an arrest. So if you have any information about any of those, you should contact them. Don't think for a minute this is put back in the files and forgotten about. Not a week goes by that I don't think about this case. Not a month goes by. Anyway, what concerns me greatly is we feel we have the suspect for all 4 murders. And what happened before he came to our area, since he came, there's a great possibility he may be a stereotype killer. On the day she vanished, Christina White attended the county fair and then went to a friend's house. She called her mother to say she wasn't feeling well and was told to come home. Her mother watched for her, but she never appeared. The suspect offered to help the sheriff's posse search for the girl, who was initially classified as missing or runaway. Neither her body nor the 10-speed bike she was riding has ever been found. Stepsisters Christina Nelson, 21, and Jacqueline Brandy Miller, 18, apparently met up the evening of September 12, 1982, to go downtown Lewiston grocery store. Nelson left a note in her apartment letting her boyfriend know where she was and who she was with. Both women were residents of Normal Hill and may have walked by the Civic Theater on the 8th Street to go downtown. Nelson had previously worked as a janitor at the theater. Stephen Purcell, 35, was dropped off at the theater at midnight by friends. A janitor at the theater, he told the friends he intended to do some work, wash some laundry, and practice his clarinet. Early in the day, Purcell had been working at the theater with the suspect. Purcell left about 7 or 8 p.m. to attend a get-together at Clarkston. The suspect told police he also left the building for a time to get pizza at the former Red Baron downtown and returned to the theater at about 10 p.m. He fell asleep and didn't wake up till 4 a.m., he said. He claims he never saw or heard anything. Needless to say, Purcell has never been seen since, and he went in the theater's doors. He is convinced that the 2 women somehow ended up at the theater that night, and Purcell got involved in this by mistake. I believe he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. The badly decomposed body of Nelson and Miller were found in March 1984. That is so sad. Isn't that just terrible? They were found at the bottom of a steep embankment at Big Bear Ridge near Kendrick. They declined to say how they died. Because Purcell has never been located, he cannot be completely ruled out as a suspect, but we believe he is a victim. Unknowingly, detectives on the White case and the Nelson Miller Purcell case share the same suspect. It wasn't until a few days Following the Lewiston disappearances, that similarities between the two cases caused something to click. The suspect was interviewed by Lewiston police twice and twice refused to take polygraph exam that could vindicate him. He then told police if they had any more questions to talk to his attorney. At one point, he threatened to file harassment charges against them. He still lives and works in the community. Sheriff's Department Sergeant Tom White acknowledged officers are very aware of the suspect. We're doing as much as we're allowed to do. We've gone clear to the very edge of what the law says we can do as far as contacting this person. Wow, that's just tragic. He says, about 5 years ago, said he renewed the then 7-year-old investigation. He talked with the former county sheriff, Herb Reeves, and uncovered another piece of evidence. I about fell out of my chair, he said. The sheriff remembered the suspect telling him he was at the house Christina White was visiting, and he had gotten her a wet towel to hold over her face when she became ill. That information added cement to the suspicions and set him wondering about the unsolved murders. I think the chances are great that he's either done this before or will do it again. It's hard to believe he wouldn't do it again. He's probably done it lots of times. Several other homicides and missing persons cases in the regions remain a mystery. See? They include the murder of Kristen David, a 22-year-old University of Idaho student who disappeared June 26, 1981, while riding her bicycle between Lewiston and Moscow. Several motorists reported seeing David on U.S. Highway 95 near Genesee, but she never arrived in Lewiston. 8 days later, headless torso and leg were found by a boater on the north shore of the Snake River downstream from Red Wolf Crossing in Clarkston. The next day, a dismembered head, arms, and part of a leg were found downstream from the bridge. All the body parts were wrapped in clear plastic bags. They were identified as David's. Police also discovered what appeared to be blood on the railing of Red Wolf Crossing. The bicycle was never found. It's probably in the water. An intensive investigation followed that involved several local law enforcement agencies and FBI. Numerous leads have surfaced over the years, but none have led to an arrest. The detectives interviewed the notorious Henry Lee Lucas and Otis or Elwood Toole, who claimed to have killed at least 100 women in 16 states in their travels around the country. Lucas denied killing David, and Toole said he was in the area in 1981 and may have done it. His story is too vague, police said. In April 1993, an escaped rapist murderer from Washington, D.C. Hospital for the Criminally Insane was apprehended in Lewiston. Investigators with U.S. Marshal Service suspect Harry Anthony Hantman may have been responsible for many unsolved murders and sex crimes during his 20 years on the lam. David's murder was listed as a possibility, and one investigator with the Lewiston Police Department is convinced Hantman was her killer. Ayler said when the common suspect emerged in the White Nelson Miller Purcell case, he was considered a suspect in David's case. It's a possibility, but the cases are not obviously linked, he said. Every time there's a homicide in the northwest or western United States without a clear suspect, information about the local crimes and the prime suspect is forwarded to the investigating agency. The suspect was referred to the Green River Task Force looking into the serial killings of numerous young women in the Seattle-Portland area. I felt they needed to know. So it says the Moscow cases include the June 29, 1979 disappearance of 27-year-old Gayla Shaper, who was last seen feeding her horses on Linville Road, and the did she go missing nearby or in a nearby house or something? I don't know, that's weird. And the bludgeoning death of 18-year-old, wasn't she at a neighbor's house or something? I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken. And the bludgeoning death of 18-year-old Janice Foyles at the Tip Top Cafe in 1969. A longtime suspect in the Foyles murder was cleared in March 1994, leading investigators to seek a new direction. In the Shaper case, a Moscow father and son recently emerged as possible suspects. Wow. According to court documents, an unnamed person told police William Gale Hagedorn and his father Larry Hagedorn that Joanne Grace Romero confided the Hagedorns had raped a girl on Linville Road many years ago and that the girl was never found. William Hagedorn last year was convicted of Romero's murder. The police source alleged Romero was killed because of what she knew. Other cases still unsolved include the 1990 stabbing death of 18-year-old Tony Ann Tedder as she slept in her Clarkston home, the disappearance of Clarkston resident Jason Goddard, 21, from Lewiston in 1990, the strangulation of Bruce and Lynn Peeples, a Grangeville couple, found in their burned apartment in 1994. Police in these cases said they have strong suspects, but no arrests have been predicted. Until the cases are officially solved, speculation is bound to continue. Of course. An article in the London Times labeled Lewiston, the town where people vanish, see? And called the disappearances one of the most baffling and terrifying mysteries that police in the American West have ever faced. The article mentions several other unresolved cases, including those in Moscow and the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area. No theories are being discounted, the article reads. Police have even looked into the possibility that grizzly bears have been raiding the towns from nearby national parks. They're not losing. Ayler said they're not he's not losing any sleep over the grizzly bear theory, but he is uncomfortable. The cases remain open. He said he released new details of the White Nelson Miller and personal cases, hoping to set off a spark in the community. He asked anyone who may have information to contact the police department. So, I guess the Facebook has a lot more information. And I don't have to worry about the ads, messing it up and going blink, blink, blink. So, if you have any information on any of those cases, though, you should contact the local authorities, whether you feel it's important or you're not sure if it's important or you just think it's not that important, but it's information connected to it and might have something to do with it. You should let them know. Let them decide. Anyway, don't forget to pray for their loved ones and their families and hope all these cases get closed. But I thought that was really interesting about the ostrich a couple years before. And then there was the other one where their other pawn shop burnt down and then they moved it into their house, I guess. So, I don't know. It's so tragic, but I thought I would put that on here today because that was the next one on my list. Anyway, thank you for tuning into my channel. Have a great day. Bye-bye.